Hi, I'm Bian Woods du Chateau, and I'm the president of Rufus King Black Student Union. Welcome to the 2021 Black History Program. In this year's program, we will be highlighting some of the most important events of last year and reviewing them through the perspective of a Black American. We will also take the time to acknowledge our new uprising Black leaders and acknowledge the Black lives we lost last year. Hope you enjoy.
Hey everybody, today I'm here interviewing
Omariana.
Do you attend King?
Yeah.
What grade are you in?
I'm in 12th grade. I'm a senior at Rufus.
Okay, so we're just going to be going into a little bit of questions that BSU set up for you guys. And we're just going to be asking questions based upon the year. So the topics that we have is COVID-19 pandemic. We have Black Lives Matter movement / police brutality, and then we have the Black vote. Okay, so we're going to start with the COVID-19 pandemic. How has COVID-19 affected you?
Personally, I was looking forward to our graduation, our prom, even our junior year prom. It's just like, it was just a big damper on everything. It was just like we were blindsided by the pandemic, school changed a lot, work changed a lot, even life in general changed a lot. Everything was shut down for a few months, and then it's just like they tried to throw us back into the loop of everything without even having a plan as to what was going to happen when we went back into our everyday life.
Okay. Has the pandemic affected you differently as being a color of person? A person of color, sorry.
I would say, for me personally, no, but what I've seen on social media and other outlets, yes. It's just like people with white privilege. I'm going to use white privilege as an example.
Mm-hmm.
They just feel like as if they don't have to wear masks, even like with the Capitol building, like that whole little, you know what I'm saying, that little shebang there. It's just like that just showed that white privilege overpowers everything else in the world. So I would say people with, white people.
Okay, this is going to be the last question that I'm going to ask you about the COVID-19 pandemic. Do you know anyone that has had COVID-19? And if so, how have they been?
So I had COVID, and I live with someone that has COVID, so it was just like I didn't really experience any symptoms like that. All I did was I didn't have a taste, or I couldn't really smell anything, and then I was real sleepy and fatigued. But the person that I was staying with, they had underlying health conditions, so it affected them totally different. They were hospitalized for a few days, and yeah,
And do you think age play a role in that?
Yes, definitely, age and health. Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, moving on to the Black Lives Matter movement. Do you identify as African American?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So, how do you feel overall about the Black Lives Matter movement?
I feel as if the Black Lives Matter movement over time has had different names, just like the Civil Rights Movement and then other movements over the years. But I feel like the Black Lives Matter movement in particular, it's like a different voice for our younger generation. We have a voice now for our generation, not using or piggybacking off of other generations and what they've established. We have established our own voice.
Okay. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to cut that out. Okay. Do you believe that there is systematic racism?
Yes, I do. Just like I got excited there, guys. Just like down in Kenosha, the Kyle dude, killed those few people, and it's just like his trial has just been pushed back and pushed back and pushed back. But I feel as if it was an African American man, he would have been sentenced. His trial would have been over. He would have been somewhere under the jail. So it's just like, I don't know. I really believe systematic racism is a thing. Not even just that, with all the school shootings and stuff like that. It's just like they try to I'm just saying, like, I just feel like somebody who shoots up a school isn't mentally stable anyways, but it's just like, you knew what you were doing. But it's just like, if a black person wants to kill somebody on the street, it's just like, they would have their trial would have been right away. It wouldn't have been a prolonging of their hearing or anything like that. So yes, I do believe in that.
Okay, and how do you feel, leading back to that, how do you feel about our former president, Donald Trump, basically bailing him out of jail? How do you feel about that?
I just feel as if him doing that lets him know what he did was okay. And everybody else around him that, you know what I'm saying, put money up for his bail, the Republicans or whatever you want to call them, they made it seem like it was okay. So it's just like, when you do stuff like that, you give room for other people to do stuff and think it's okay, just like what happened at the Capitol building. They thought that was okay,
right?
But it's really not. So
right. Okay. Last question about the Black Lives Matter movement. Why do you feel like it was so heavy? Like overall, the Black Lives Matter movement was so heavy this year in 2020.
2020. I just feel like what really, it's just like, I feel like police brutality is what really set off the Black Lives Matter movement in 2020 with the George Floyd shooting, the Breonna Taylor shooting, and many other shootings in the past.
So do you feel like since there were things occurring back to back is why maybe the younger generation felt the need to go out and speak up more for ourselves because everything was happening so back to back? Do you feel like that's the reason why everything was so heavy in 2020?
Yes, I do believe that. And it's just like, even with the shootings here, the Red Arrow Park shooting, the Sherman Park shooting with Seville, it's just like, those things that happen, even the kid that got shot at Mayfair with the cop, yes, I just feel as if everything was like the incidents were back to back, and it's just like, it's a train of events that just keep happening. So it's just like, that was just the icing on the cake for everybody. So yeah.
Okay, just to double back off the thing that you just said about the shooting that happened at the mall with the young man, the cop that shot him was black. So what do you think about that? I mean, we say that this cop on black people thing is a racist thing, but the man that shot him was black. So do you think it's just like a brotherly, sisterly code thing that people have when you join the force to be a police, or?
I feel as if personally, sometimes it may be a racism thing, but I just feel as if they abuse their badge. That's what I feel like. And it's like, that wasn't the first incident he had. He's killed 2 other people. So it's just like, I just feel like he's abusing his power. It's not always about a racist thing. Just like the dude Seville, the cop that killed him, he was a black cop too. I just feel as if people or police officers abuse their power. Okay. And there are some people that camouflage racism with abusing their power. So it's just like they become cops just to do stuff, but their underlying reason as to doing it, racism.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to move on to the last section for today, which is the Black vote. This year during elections, were you able to vote?
No, I was not. I was not 18, so okay.
No. Why do you think Joe Biden chose Kamala Harris as his vice president?
Personally, I feel like he chose her to win over the black vote. Because it's just like, of course, black people want to see someone black in office, but not even someone black in office, a black female in office. So I don't know, I just feel like they're compatible with each other, and then for a plus, it's just like he won over the black community with that person in particular.
Okay, and the last question for today is if you were able to vote, who would you have voted for?
Joe Biden, because Trump is just A. That's it. That's all he is A.
Okay, thank you so much for participating in this interview, and have a good day.
See you guys later.
Bye.
We've known for many decades that poverty rates are more than twice as high in the African American community. And this, of course, goes hand in hand with healthcare access barriers, resulting in the very well documented higher diabetes, hypertension, and cancer death rates in African Americans compared to white Americans. So it was certainly predictable that we would see the frequency of COVID-19 is disproportionately higher in African Americans, and death rates from COVID-19 are disproportionately higher in African Americans. Compounding the socio-demographics is the fact that African Americans have more exposures. Blacks are highly represented among hospital workers, delivery service industry, in public transportation. African Americans are more likely to live in housing environments that cannot support the social distancing policies.
There's considerable and mounting evidence that shows that there are both genetic and, of course, biological differences when we think about various diseases when we compare Blacks to whites in the U.S. Different types of cancer, heart disease, diabetes, hypertension, obesity, and even genetic diseases like sickle cell anemia. The disparities are real and the differences are real. Our history, our genetic makeup, and the environment. All of those things sort of play a complex role in the reasons why we see these differences.
It sounds to me that it's multifactorial, as you both might say. It's a 1-2 punch. There may be a genetic predisposition towards some of these diseases, and they are exacerbated or fueled by environmental factors.
Absolutely. That's exactly what it is. So you have a group of people that are at higher risk of infection, but they also have an underlying biology that might put them at higher risk for a more advanced and aggressive disease course. And in this type of setting where there still isn't truly effective testing, and there definitely isn't any type of therapeutic or treatment, we're in big trouble. Many of the chronic diseases, right, that affect African Americans impact our immune and inflammatory systems. So if you have higher rates of these diseases in a population or community, the consequence of that is that those people will also have issues related to their immune system and their inflammatory systems.
So are you saying basically that the immune systems generally of Black and brown people are different than the immune systems of other people for genetic reasons?
Certain DNA patterns are linked to African ancestry, other patterns are linked to European ancestry. These genetic patterns of DNA are also linked to other biologic mechanisms, such as immune response to different diseases. And we need to understand these in order to more comprehensively understand cancer pathogenesis. And it's likely also going to be important in understanding the best treatments for COVID.
When we think about some of these diseases like cancer and heart disease, diabetes, obesity, we know that all of these things tend to influence an inflammatory response. So our immune system and our inflammatory system goes out of whack. And it's really interesting that one of the key features of COVID-19 aggressiveness is what we call a cytokine storm, where there's this dramatic inflammatory response that leads
where
to
the immune system goes into overdrive.
It goes into overdrive, and the bad thing is that it leads to tissue damage. It leads to all sorts of issues with our physiology, circulation. All of these things become affected and really makes our bodies more susceptible. Centuries of natural selection have made us who we are. But what we have to understand is that selection in one environment is beneficial. In a completely different environment, that same trait can now be detrimental. One example, the Blacks who were put on the ships for the transatlantic slave trade that actually survived the trip, they had to retain water. And the physiology that is associated with that is high blood pressure. That natural selection that occurred has shaped African Americans in such a way that we have higher rates of hypertension. In that setting, it was beneficial. However, now being in the setting of being an American, that same trait now is detrimental. And of course, one of the things we know is that one of the primary conduits for the COVID-19 virus to get into cells is the ACE2 or the ACE2 receptor, which is also involved in hypertension. And we know African Americans have higher rates of hypertension. And so the question can become, does that actually provide a better way, right, or in a more efficient way for the virus to actually affect these people?
Dr. Newman, can you talk about access to care?
Patients of color, and in particular African Americans, have socioeconomic disadvantages, such as poverty, results in a lower likelihood of receiving adequate care. More Blacks are receiving care in the urban public hospitals, safety net hospitals. These hospitals have been disproportionately devastated by the costs of COVID medical care. And so it's become a real vicious cycle in terms of worsening care in populations that have greater needs.
We absolutely have to address these underlying social inequalities and socioeconomic issues that we know are playing probably a central role in infection rates and mortality. What I'm concerned about is the lack of effort to really try to ensure we're being inclusive and that the research that is ongoing in COVID-19 will include diverse populations of people. We have to look at the actual value of including these individuals who are at higher risk of infection and worse outcomes, because what we learn from them can help improve the lives of everyone.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring, ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun, let us march on till victory is won. Stony the road we trod, bitter the chastening rod, felt in the days when hope unborn had died. Yet with the steady beat have not our weary feet come to the place for which our fathers sighed. We have come over a way that with tears has been watered. We have come treading our path through the blood of the slaughter. Out from the gloomy past, till now we stand at last, where the white gleam of our bright star is cast. Wade in the water, wade in the water, children, wade in the water. God, we need you to help us through this struggle. We get so close and then we crumble. It's like we try to avoid it, but we keep stepping in this puddle and our lives become rebuttals, just trying to stay up out this trouble. Felt our world came crashing down when the new sheriff came to town, and all we can do is frown and our voices become rebounds, and we look back and just say, wow, Obama, where'd you go? Felt like we could walk up in the White House with our froze and what left was all we know. See, we all feeling low. No more souls to the polls, redistricting, high incarceration rates, photo ID. We despise that. Rock the vote. We tried that. Revolt and attack. Oh, we're just mad and black. See, they get their guns ready because they so scared we packing, so scared we gonna pay them back. And reform after reform after reform, Trump ready to get it cracking, put a Muslim ban in place, thinking they're gonna attack him when he's attacking. Wanna put a wall up, swearing they gonna pay us back, and what a crazy, crazy world we living in today. Killing these boys and girls is a trend in the world today. Shut up, put your hands down. I guess classes work this way. Talk back, fight back, somebody dying today, and they say the world just worked that way. But see, here my generation, we can't be afraid. We have to respectfully challenge the system with situations we find afflicting. We can't just sit around and wait for someone to fix our future for us. School to prison pipeline, might as well, driving straight to jail, what the, oh well, just use the school bus. How did we get here? Standardized testing, tested on standards we're not even taught. Fill in the blank, complete the sentence on the test. Standing before the judge to deliberate the rest. He's filling in his sentences with life or death. See, from sitting in a classroom to sitting in a cage, mamas and daddies filled with rage, and the school principal checks the waiting list and just flips to the next page. Flip, 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 next case.
I wish I knew how it would feel to be free. I wish I could break all the chains holding me. I wish I could say all the things I should say. Say 'em loud, say 'em clear, for the whole round world to hear. I wish I could share all the love that's in my heart. Remove all the bars that keep us apart. I wish I could know what it means to be me. Then you'd see and agree that every man should be free. I wish I could give all I'm longing to give. I wish I could live like I'm longing to live. I wish I could do all the things that I can do. And though I'm way overdue, I'd be starting anew. Well, I wish I could be like a bird in the sky. How sweet it would be if I found I could fly. I'd fly, I'd soar to the sun and look down at the sea, and then I'd sing, 'cause I know, yeah, I would sing, 'cause I know, oh, I would sing, 'cause I know how it feels to be free. And I'd sing 'cause I know how it feels to be free.
wrestling for freedom and unity. We do it peacefully.
Multiple angles but symmetry. Same direction.
You know the reason you took this ride. Let the conquer the fear inside. Take up your cross, riders, take up your cause. Right on, right on to glory. Right on, dancing club. Right on, don't get off track. Get back and ride on.
Breakfast is free by 63. We choose to stay to make history.
If you're not willing to die for this, what good is life if not living for it?
We will stand in love, and we'll sit in love, and we'll ride on to glory, glory. So no matter what, yes, no matter what, ride on to glory. Ride on, answer the call. Ride
This was one of few diverse neighborhoods. And then you step outside of this community and you could basically predict someone's race by their zip code.
Milwaukee is one of the most segregated cities in America.
You got the north side for the blacks, you got the Asians right in between, you got the south side for the Latinos, you got white people in the surrounding suburbs, and it's like you're not even welcome out there. Not a lot of us live out there, and when you do travel out there, you're targeted. They don't want us to put the spotlight on it.
But Milwaukee is in the spotlight. I came back home to talk with black voters and get a sense of the energy amid the Democratic National Convention and found, well, very little. The coronavirus forced the party to tell an estimated 50,000 visitors to stay home, leaving only a handful of local speakers to live stream from inside the security zone.
Welcome back to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, a great city on native land on a great lake. It's the place where I was born and raised. Right?
There were more police and protesters than patrons.
You can see a group of bikers have come to protest, and they've come to what's left of the DNC, which is not very much.
Many voters I spoke with said outside of the convention center and in the community, Democrats are missing in action.
The DNC still is not here. A perfect opportunity to come and talk to the people on the ground. Look at all these people out here that are potential voters. Not one person from the DNC is over here.
With people mobilized onto the streets to have their voices heard, I spent the week asking residents what Joe Biden and the Democratic Party can do to truly earn their vote.
How you doing? I just thought your house was gorgeous. I used to live on this block years ago, so I saw this house. I was like, that doesn't even look familiar. It used to be white. It was beautiful. Wow. And here's my old house.
Demonstrations have accelerated after the shooting of Jacob Blake in nearby Kenosha, and Milwaukee has had its own history of police killings.
Say his name! Say his name!
Charlie Frazier says that's because black Milwaukeeans are fed up with a two-party political system that sees both sides ignore their issues.
It's picking the lesser of two evils, and what's really happening is they don't want, of course you're not going to vote for Trump. However, you have this candidate that you also don't really want to vote for, so then they're telling us to vote for other people.
Tonight, members of the People's Revolution are uniting for their 81st night of protest, this time in the suburb of Wauwatosa. Its police department is under pressure to fire an officer who shot and killed 3 people in 5 years.
And now we still want to make sure that we hold them accountable.
So far, he's only been suspended pending an investigation.
Black lives matter. Say black
lives matter. Let's go, Tiffany.
Wake up. Hey, clap your hands for the first time that's joining us. Let's ride. Thank you.
Protests like this one continue to spread across the country, and activists are calling on Democrats to be more progressive on criminal justice reform in the party's platform. Historian Reggie Jackson says the city's legacy of unrest dates back to the 1960s, when activists protested housing discrimination by marching across the 16th Street Bridge, separating Milwaukee's black north side from its white south side.
People refer to this bridge, they say this is the longest bridge in the world because it separates Africa from Poland, right? That was kind of the joke back then.
To Reggie, the Democratic National Convention going mostly virtual is representative of the party consistently abandoning the black communities that get them elected.
Listen, what we're asking for today is no different than what we were asking for 4 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, 50. We're just asking for the same opportunities that white people in Milwaukee have, and we've been denied those opportunities. We've been denied the ability to have the city leaders, whether they be elected officials, business leaders, invest in our neighborhoods. And so now to have this pandemic hit, to have the DNC not come in the way that it did, it's like getting hit 3 different times. This is this old saying from the black community. It says, when America catches a cold, the black community catches pneumonia.
A city that once stood to be a symbol for democratic resilience now stands at a crossroads. Advocates say it's a warning for Democrats not to take black voters for granted.
You're the future, the now, forever. Black lives matter.
Just miles from what's left of the convention, Jordan Terry and fellow canvassers are registering residents to vote while collecting surveys on the city's budget.
I think people are scared. We have all of these crises coming up, and really people are protesting because their material needs aren't being met. People don't have homes, people don't have health care. A lot of people feel hopeless around like our voting and just the voting system because it almost feels rigged. I feel like we're kind of taking a lean more towards socialism because that's what's gonna meet our needs right now. Our government isn't helping us out, so it's up to us. I was just letting people know about the budget priority survey that the city is putting in circulation.
Jordan's distrust of the system is echoed by residents in Metcalf Park.
What are your thoughts about the elections so far?
Not sure which way I want to go so far. Not knowing what's the greater evil right now. Within what I'm thinking about what's going on. Really, the Democrats have tried to more reach towards the community, the African Americans, the Latinos. They have tried, like, you know, to reach, but I think they're over aggressive with it. Especially when you got our presidential candidate saying, if you don't vote for me, you're not black. But you're not black, so it's like, why are you doing this?
So if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black, it don't have nothing to do with Trump. It has to do with the fact I want something for my community.
Support for Democrats dropped nationally among black Americans since the last presidential election, and Milwaukee is no exception. In 2016, Donald Trump won the state of Wisconsin by only 23,000 votes. Around 93,000 black Milwaukeeans stayed home. Charles Griffin says that's because the city's black residents are tired of being used as political pawns.
They don't care about us. And I feel like that. No candidate cares, because if you did, you would beat the street. You would make sure that the people that you want our votes, you would come down here and see what we really want and how we really live. And it would probably bring a tear to some of their eyes if they seen how some of us down here live. It's ridiculous, and it's not like we're not working hard. I work hard every day. I'm a chef. I'm a restaurant manager.
We can do better and deserve so much more.
The campaign hopes Kamala Harris as VP will appeal to black Americans on the fence, especially younger progressive voters who aren't excited by Biden. That mirrors a generational divide in Milwaukee between passionate young activists and their more traditional elders.
And so I want to talk to my peers at this moment. I want to talk to those of us who are in our 50s, in our 60s, in our 70s, in our 80s, some of whom have a whole lot of nonsense to say about what's going on right now. Some of us did not become elders, we became olders. We just got old. We need to start showing up.
While you talking, they still walking.
Andre Lee Ellis is showing up. He's like Black Milwaukee's dad, a mentor to many, and even my former creative arts instructor. He and elders in the community mentor youth at the We Got This Garden, located in the 53206 zip code, one of Milwaukee's poorest neighborhoods. He says Democrats should be passing the torch and showing they trust the next generation's leader.
You know, I love Biden, I love Sanders, all of them, and I know you, David, don't get mad at me. But they so old, and every time you look at you, be like, do he even remember what he's saying? Young people need to come forward, and us old people need to push you or lay down on the ground so when you fall on our backs. And we can lift you up faster that way.
Yeah. That's hard. I got you. That's a saving grace.
I've known David Bowen as a community activist since our teens. Now he's a state representative for the city's 10th district.
Sometimes you can't find. Can you tap into the energy that is out there? And I tell them all the time, you know, this is righteous anger that young people are engaging in all over the country. And that's important for Vice President Joe Biden to be able to tap into, for Senator Kamala Harris to tap into, to be able to carry that torch and to say that they will be the champion on the issues that young people are caring about. It's this amazing synergy that says, if you don't tap into this, you're gonna lose us. So they have to do it.
David's been the only lawmaker to show up for almost every night of protest. Tonight, the People's Revolution is marching for their 83rd night and aren't showing any signs of slowing down.
A lot of the older generations, I do hear them say that, like, we marched 60, 70 years ago, it didn't change anything. Well, then why did you guys stop? Is always my response to that.
Does the Democratic Party take black voters for granted?
We sell ourselves short. I don't think that we realize how powerful our votes really are. I'm looking at the statistics from the last election based on how many black people didn't vote and how many votes he won by. The people do have the power. We all have a little bit of power, and we all have to believe that. And sometimes somebody has to show us that or explain that to us in a way that we understand it, I think.
Understand that politics is policy. It's long-term. It's local. It's about uplifting the power of the people long after a pandemic, uprising, or the next Democratic National Convention.
So how do you respond then to people who say, you know, activism is voting? If you really want to be active in your communities, go get people to register to vote.
I think voting is important to have elected officials that we choose. So as far as our aldermen, the Common Council, the Fire and Police Commission, those are the really important ones. Where you live at, the Fire and Police Commission, the DA.
Black Milwaukeeans are demanding change. They're tired of seeing a national party that ignores the issues that impact them until it's time to vote. From generations of elders leaving their legacy to young activists fighting for their future, in Milwaukee, the message is clear. Change happens where the people are.
Come on, baby. Come on, stay tight. Stick close.
The People's Revolution.
That's right. Big bag, bustin' out the belly band. Take a man, Balenciaga brought it back. Know how I give it up. It's big bags, bustin' out the belly band. Take a man, working back, party back. Know how I give it up. If it's up, then it's up, then it's up, then it's stuck.
Ooh, beat up back in. Beat up back in. I'm not doing a show without the back in. She knocked on my door, tryna get in.
I open on for the tagging. You know this book is for the bagging. Kitty, kitty, baby, get her things to rest. Cause you done beat it like the 68 Jets. Diamonds are nothing when I'm rockin' with ya. Diamonds are nothing when I'm shining with ya. Just keep it white and black as if I'm your sister. I'm too hip to hop around, time to hit with ya.
I was born by the river in a little tin, oh, and just like the river, I've been running ever since. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gon' come. Oh, yes, it will. It's been too hard living, but I'm afraid to die. 'Cause I don't know what's up there beyond the
reality.